Today is Monday, April 4th, and my name is Brandon Springer. I'm interviewing Ina Shtern, who's a former Soviet Jewish emigre from the Soviet Union. This interview is being recorded for the Maria Rogers Oral History Program and is being filmed by Chandler Routman. Ina, we'll begin with when and where you were born.
I was born in Tashkent in 1957.
Could you tell me a little bit about growing up in Tashkent?
Oh, the whole my life was in Tashkent, and I went to school. I graduated college, got married at the age of 21, and started working as a piano teacher since I was 18 years old. Had 2 kids.
But let's start with your childhood. What was childhood like for you as a young Jew in Tashkent?
Oh my gosh, long time ago. I was back to long time ago. So I remember having my grandmothers from the both sides of the parents. They were Jewish, really Jewish. I don't remember my grandfathers because they were in World War II. They were dying. Yeah, so they raised the whole family, immigrate in World War II. I remember from Odessa, from the Ukraine, with the parents, and that's how most of the Jews ended up in Uzbekistan, because it was a safe place where the mothers with the kids can be far away from the German. So I remember celebrating all the holidays with the grandparents, or remembering going to occasionally to synagogue, but it wasn't the place where we can be very open, allowed to be inside of the synagogue. Remembering staying outside, but most of them I remember celebrating all the traditional holidays, Jewish holidays, like Rosh Hashanah, like a Hanukkah, like a Purim. This is the most colorful event was for me. Mm-hmm. And then that's what I remember. And the school years, do I remember? Wasn't proud of myself to be Jewish, trying to hide it from everybody. It wasn't kind of the persecuted, but it wasn't. You should hide it. It's most important for you, yeah. So you rather be like everybody else. It's Russian, or we were born in Uzbekistan, which is a Muslim republic. So obviously by my face, you wouldn't say I'm Muslim, yeah, Uzbek, but I'm pretty much typical, has a nose as a Jewish person, and you cannot hide it. I remember my first kind of the impression when my kids were born, they didn't look like Jewish, and I was so proud of them. Yeah, I said, you're going to have a better life, yes, here than me, because that's what I remember about being a Jewish.
Mm-hmm. Now you said you occasionally went to synagogue. Were there multiple synagogues in Tashkent?
No, it was only 1 or 2. No. Mm-hmm. It wasn't multiple. It wasn't. I even don't remember. Was it official building for synagogue, or it wasn't a one synagogue? It was in somebody house, big house, and in a yard. They have a big yard, so the people, even it wasn't like a sitting synagogue, you can stand with all the Jews came and celebrate everything. Yeah. Was
it common for the Jews of Tashkent to go to synagogue?
Not at all. Not at all. Because you're afraid somebody will see, somebody will notice you're Jewish, because everybody was standing around, and no, I don't remember. It was a common to go. Maybe Igor can add something.
And what did it mean for you to be Jewish?
I have to take a break right now.
So you said your grandmothers were both very Jewish. What does that mean, to be very Jewish? How are they very Jewish to you?
They can speak Yiddish,
Mm-hmm.
both of them. I can understand a
They
little
didn't
bit.
teach you Yiddish?
Yes, Yiddish. I was raised on the traditional songs. Like here in American, you know lullabies, everybody. I know all the Jewish musical songs because of the grandparents.
Which ones?
Food was very traditional in our house. All the Jewish food, what we later opened here, Russian deli here. So I had a memory, all the recipes in my head, how to prepare. Even the restaurant was called Russian deli, but we prepare a lot of the Jewish stuff, and we were only I believe, so deli in Boulder responsible for Jewish food, for all kind of the holidays and all kind of the recipes. It was in my head, not in a piece of paper, because of the grandparents. They taught me how to do it.
And what kind of foods were they that you were eating?
So it was knishes. It's a kind of the strudel with mashed potatoes. It was stuff, it's called shaker in Russian, but it's a skin stuff. You take off the chicken skin from the whole chicken and you're stuffing. This was the special food for some of the holidays. It was Tashkent for the Purim. Maybe I even don't remember. It was for the Purim. Right now I understand it for the Purim, but it was a kind of a very often dessert in our house.
And what kind of songs were you singing? You said you knew all the Jewish lullabies, the Yiddish songs.
It would take for me time, yeah. Hava Nagila. We know Bamir Bezdestein, if I remember. So it's hard for me to come up right now with all the titles, yeah, of the name. But most of them, Hava Nagila and Bamir Bezdestein, and even on our weddings, yeah, we were dancing all traditional songs, what you're using right here in a wedding, Jewish weddings.
You said you were married at 21. Was it a traditional Jewish wedding? Was it you were remarried under a chuppah?
No,
No?
it wasn't. Unfortunately, it wasn't in this way. Even I don't remember our friends who are Jewish who emigrated to different countries in Israel. They have traditional Jewish. No, unfortunately, no. But our daughter who married here, she has a traditional Jewish. So it's kind of our dream came through. Our kids, hopefully, and our son will marry too.
Tell me what it was like being a teenager in the Soviet Union.
I remember a couple of the episodes. So first of all, you're not honest about you're Jewish. And I remember every year we have a different teacher in the beginning of the year. And on the first or maybe on the second day, the teacher asked the nationalities. And when it came to say your nationality, it was kind of embarrassed for me to say I'm Jewish. And we have in our classroom only couple of the kids, let's say out of the 30, so it wasn't majority. And didn't like it to say it all the time. If I could, I can hide it, because it could be kind of the kid who didn't understand it's the equal religious, or it's not even religious nationality. They can't be very mean to you saying Jews, Jew. Especially they can say it first of all, by appearance of your face, if you ask, and it wasn't pleasant for me.
So then, did you go to college?
Yes.
What did you study in college?
Music. Music, yes. Music. I was college.
What were the college years like for you?
The college was much easier because in a group of the 8 kids, we have probably 4 or 5 Jewish people, so we kind of know each other. Yes, we didn't hide it, and it was normal because in kind of this college, majority of the kids were Jewish. Yeah, they were smart, they were intelligent, they would prefer to go to this kind of the study. So we didn't hide it. Yeah, it wasn't kind of bad for us. And we enjoy playing the Jewish songs. Yes, already we know how to do it, yes. And what is it for?
So you learned all the Jewish songs?
Yes.
These were the same ones from your childhood that you knew
Absolutely,
Yiddish.
absolutely.
And did you learn more later on?
Absolutely. And right now I am learning more because I have a couple of the student Jewish, so who wants to celebrate it. So I try to please the parents, having the music and know how to read the music, Jewish music. Yeah.
So music was a way for you to express your Jewishness.
Sort of, kind of. Yes, I always like it and always bring tears.
So once you were married, you started giving piano lessons in the Soviet Union, correct?
Correct.
Who would you give piano lessons to?
Can you repeat the question?
Who would you give piano lessons to?
I was a teacher in a special school. So in the Russian special school, it's like you go to the dance school after the program here in America, but we have more intense schools. So with the kids has to go 5 times a week, approximately 5 times a week after school, after the regular school, studying twice a week private lessons, whatever instruments, solfeggio, literature, and choir. And I was a teacher for the group lessons responsible, and the private. It's not the kind of the private lessons, so the kids enroll, and that's for very, very low amount of money to the schools. And we taught from 5 years old to, I believe, so 16 years old.
And you did that for the entire time you were?
Yes, yes.
And then when did you start thinking about leaving the Soviet Union?
We had a conversation started when my husband's relatives moved from Odessa prior, how many years ago? Prior to our departure. 20 years ago they moved. So we here almost 19 years ago. We came here 19 years ago, so when they moved we started to talk about, and they gave us more information about the life here in America, and we started to talk about.
Was there anything that had happened to sort of spark you moving? Any event that made you really decide we have to leave? Because at that time it wasn't the Soviet Union anymore, it was just Uzbekistan.
Uzbekistan, right. I would prefer Igor will answer this question.
Okay.
Yes, historical question, political question.
Okay. So when were your children born?
When?
Yeah.
Milana was born in 1979, and Alex born in 1988. Yes. So when Milana, the oldest, moved here, she was 13 years old, and Alex was 3 years old, and he moved to America.
And had you taught them about being Jewish when they were growing up in the Soviet Union before you came?
She was 3 years old.
Well, she was 13 though. Had you...
The daughter, she was 13 years old. We didn't explore. We explored the older traditions, like because the grandparents were still alive. They were with us all the time, but it wasn't kind of the traditional education to go like here to the synagogue and have it on the separate issues. Not in this way. Not in this way.
And did your daughter at least know that she was Jewish?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And was that because you told her or because she'd found out some other way?
You have to tell everybody because we had a passport, and the passport was a special page when it says, who are you, Jewish or you Uzbek or somebody else? Yeah.
So that was the moment when she knew and she
Yes.
had the passport? So tell me about the process of leaving Uzbekistan at that time, when you decided that it was time to leave. What was it like coming? Perhaps tell me about your last night in Uzbekistan. So, let's go back a little bit. You were telling me about music and about something Jewish music. And I was wondering, did you sing any Jewish songs to your children when they were very little?
To be honest, I don't remember much, but it was in my head. Maybe yes, maybe not. Yes, it's we were raised, and we didn't even think about to go to America at this point when our daughter was at a school. So I don't know. It was a good or bad to bring up the Judaism to her head or to know her much of it. So maybe I kept it a lot what I knew. Before we came to America, when I came very open with the kids about the music history and everything, yes.
Mm-hmm. So, do you want to talk about coming to America?
Sure.
Will you tell us about your last night in the Soviet Union? Or in Uzbekistan at this point?
Last night,
Yes.
I remember vividly, we have a house full of stuff. And by this point, when we have to move, we couldn't sell it, we couldn't donate it because the kind of donation organization didn't exist in Russian. So we didn't even know what to do with the stuff. So we left. We luckily sold our apartment, and months before we decided to move, and then it was an inflation, financial inflation. So whatever we can sell, we couldn't convert to the real money. So I bought just a ferry coat, and it was cost for me the whole my 3-bedroom apartment. So we left with $100 in the pocket for each person, very poorly, yes. So I wasn't worried a lot about the stuff I left because my parents were still there. So I was thinking about, and long term, I was thinking they will move eventually with us, or will come. They will come, but in reality, I didn't know how soon they will be with us. Mm-hmm. So I didn't worry. I just left everything for them.
Mm-hmm. And did your parents? You didn't leave with your parents?
No.
You left before them?
Yes, we left before them. We left after 1 year after my husband's parents, Igor's parents, left. And it was time for us, and then that's it. And 1 year after when we came to America, we be able, with the help of Bill Cohen, to speed it up the process of all the papers for them to move to America to join us as a family.
Mm-hmm. And then, so what, you said you had $100 for each person. What else were you able to bring with you when you left?
We decided to bring, no, it wasn't our decision. We allowed to bring only 2 suitcases, I believe, so it was 20 kilograms in each suitcase. So you have to put only necessity stuff in the suitcase, and it was hard to know what's going to be useful in a different country, what kind of style is it. Even we talked to the father-in-law over the phone many times. He instructed us what to take it, but some of the things were very heavy, so we couldn't decide it what we can do it. We couldn't take new stuff with the labels, so everything has to be or looks like very used stuff. It was very hard to leave the stuff. It's very precious for us, like pictures of our kids. So, but we managed to take all what we needed, and we still have the stuff with us right now. So they're very important.
Mm-hmm. And then how did it feel leaving?
It was very hard because first of all, you leave your parents. You never know they will see them. Even we talked about it. Yes, it will be very easy. The doors are open, but in reality, we didn't know about this. Will they see this again or not? Especially from my side, because all my side of the family left. But we luckily, they live, everybody's here right now, and we maybe in different states. 2 sisters in New York right now. With over the period of the time they can join us, but luckily we're together. It was very hard. It was like a funeral for everybody. Don't believe it. Nobody can believe it. We'll be together again.
But you were eventually, correct? Once you got here, you were eventually back together again?
Yes, we're lucky. We're lucky for many years. We are together. So I left 90 years ago, Tashkent, and I've never been back in Tashkent because all my relatives, all my friends, they left. So some of them in United States, some of them in Israel. So the people who couldn't get a chance to get to America, they have to immigrate to Israel because it was more open for them. They don't need to have a requirement relative to join them. They can go without any relatives connection.
Had you had any desire to go to Israel?
Yes, I would like to go. I would like to go and explore it. And I don't know when it will happen, but yes, definitely.
But at the time, did you ever think, well, maybe we should go to Israel instead of the United States? Was that ever a thought that occurred to you?
No, we didn't have it, the issues, because it was a good time when the Gorbachev opened the gates from the Soviet Union, and we know we have a right to join my husband's parents. Mm-hmm. So no, we didn't think about Israel. Mm-hmm. It was a kind of the backup plan for everybody. But at this time, at this moment, we have a good chance to join them.
So tell me about your first day in Colorado once you finally got here.
When we came here, we were lucky because my husband's parents were here and they have a little bit experience living for 1 year, but looking back, I understand the 1 year it's nothing right now. But we were met in the airport with the people who belong to the organization who was organized by Bill Cohen, Soviet help for the Soviet Union people. What is it called?
Boulder Action.
Boulder Action for Soviet Jews. Boulder Action for Soviet Jews. I didn't have knowledge about all the volunteers, good volunteers. For us, it was very strange because it didn't exist in kind of the Tashkent and Russian. There's kind of the position volunteers. It was very strange how the people can give up their own time from the family just for nothing. Just not even earning the monies from the just desire. It was very strange, but they were very extremely helpful. The family, as a host family, who knows. So it was like a second parents. They help us in everything. They met us at the airport. They brought us home. It was a long distance to come from the airport, which was the old airport in the south of Denver, to bring in the cars to Boulder, to All apartments already were set up. We were next door to Igor's parents. It was a small apartment, but it was already our house. They said, "This is your house. They're going to live there with the kids," and we were just very happy, overwhelmed. The timing was different because it was a long flight, so you kind of like, whatever. Okay, this is a house. Okay, we'll live in this house. Yes, and this is necessity. What you have to have. Find. And so the next day came, and then more people come, and they explained to us what we should do with the next 3 days, with the next 4 days, the next 5 days. It was a kind of the steps how to live in a new country. Like they taught us like a babies how to walk, how to crawl, but with the different issues. Yes.
And so what were the first things you had to do once you got here?
We have to go to the Social Security to get real numbers, of official numbers. We have to go, and we have to live. Yes, and they gave us, I believe so. They gave us a couple of days of freedom to adjust to the climbing to the time, and then the real work started. How find a job, our kids were 13 years old and 3 years old, how they should start to go, where should they start to go, to the preschool, to the school. So we were together. We just following the people, volunteer peoples from the Boulder Soviet Jews. We trust them 100% because we didn't understand what we are doing. It was a kind of we were in a dreaming position. We didn't understand English most of the time. Yes, what they're doing, whatever they tell us to do, we just followed them. Yes, and whatever they request our signature, we did it. We were like a blind kittens at this time. Yes, yes, and more people came every day. The person who were responsible to help us to find a job, the person who are responsible to translate for us. It was a Russian woman who translated everything because our English was a minimum. People who host family who was supposed to show us around everything. So more and more people came every single day. We just have appointments. We didn't know it's by appointments everything. The new style life started, yes, by minute, by hours. It was a good experience of the new life, and we were in the middle of the 30s. Yes, it wasn't so easy to adjust. So you're not like a kid, you're not like a already on a, you're not qualified for the Social Security. So you need to start your job. You need to start your life over again in the middle of there's who knows how many years you're going to live, but that's what is it. Very hard period of the life. You have to forget what you were in Tashkent and the Soviet Union and start your new life. Because of the kids, we believe future of the kids is here. That's the main reason why you moved here. So you have to survive.
So you mentioned that you had a translator and that you had to learn English. How did you go about learning English?
We had a second at school, started in Tashkent, started in the 5th grade. Everybody has a mandatory to learn as a second language. It could be German, it could be choices for German, English, or Greek. Because we have a population of the Greek people community, so they allow, the school district allowed to learn Greek's family, the native language. So my language was English from the 5th grade through the college as well. But it wasn't conversational English. It was kind of written in a British English, which was very different. Mm-hmm. And when my daughter was turned 8 years old, even I didn't think about it to go to America yet, but we had a special like a musical schools for very gifted kids, like a Juilliard right here. We had an English school, German schools, when the kids learning not only once in a week or twice a week for 45 minutes, they learn every single day writing, reading, pronunciation, everything. So I decided it's a good opportunity, even not even not thinking about to go to America for my girl to learn as a second language. It's more professional style, more serious styles. And that's what's my English experience, but it wasn't very good because communication is a number one. Yes, unfortunately I can spell the words, yes, but how does it help if you cannot distinguish between the W and V? When you say walnut, where do you live on a walnut? And the people are asking you, where? Walnut or walnut? For us it was the same. Or you have to remember to put the tongue between your teeth when you pronounce the theater. This is very strange. We never had a TH, this kind of letter. A Russian language is very strict. It's very simple, like a Slavic. Whatever you see, you pronounce. English is more complicated. You can see 5 letters, but you pronounce 1 syllable, which was very, very hard to learn. And yes, but the reading skills was already there. Yes.
Did BASJ provide you an ESL tutor?
We started to go, yes, we started to go to ESL schools for the San Juan, which is mixed all together, older people, different nationalities. Yet we started to go there. But it was very hard to take it, absorb everything. Remember, you're not so young already, and your mind is occupied how you can survive. You need to find a job. But at the same time, you understand you cannot find a job without the language. The language was a huge barrier in the life. So you force yourself, you come home, you still have hungry kids, you have to cook, you need to have money to cook something, but thanks God we know how to cook from one chicken, five maybe dinners, at least 5 dinners. So we know how to be very safe with the money, how to what is it word? I forgot. Not the group goal. I forgot this word. It's out on the tip of my tongue. Yes, but how to be good with the money. Even you do have money, but you're not spending. We were very, 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 very good with this one. Yes.
So when did you eventually find a job?
In 3 months. We have a person who was very responsible for us to find us a job, and so we went together. It was a telecamera when it was in the cracks list in those years. So he found a job for us, and he took us for the different interviews to see and of course he asked us if he wanted to do. My first job was he found the first job for me as a musician, to be accompanist as a Salvation Army once in a week, and it was a great experience for me. $10 per hour, and I have only 1 hour every Sunday. And I remember we didn't have a car, so I have to walk, and it was in the Pearl Street. First of all, it was very close to our house where we live on Neil Parkway in Boulder. But then Salvation Army moved, so I have to walk far, far, far away. Yeah, but it was a good job for me. I had experience how to read the music, even it wasn't Jewish music. And I remember one of their, on the celebration of the Purim, Orthodox rabbi asked me, where do you work after 1 year? I was proud of myself to saying Salvation Army. He said, how dare you? You're working in Salvation Army. You shouldn't step over the church stairs because you're Jewish. And I didn't know. I was so shocked. I didn't know how to reply to his comments, but I was very proud because the job was related to the music. I didn't care. And it gave me money, $40 per month. It was a good money. And then they found for me another job. It was very interesting, to be assistant in a laundromat. And the job was, I live in the north of the Boulder, and the job was in the south. So we didn't have a car. I should take 2 buses, and it took for me 1.5 hours to get each way. But they gave me only 4 hours of job. And when I wrote it down to my mom, I'm working for $4.75. She started to cry, she told me. She imagined me just to wash the clothes in the old-fashioned way. We didn't have a kind of the washers that we have right now in a dryer. She didn't understand. I have just to put the dirty clothes and I have to take it out and I put it in the dryer. This was my position. But I remember the boss, she trained me, how she interviewed me. She gave me $1 and I was capable to do the change or not. It was hilarious for me. And another hilarious episode was in my life when I asked my co-worker, how much does she earn? And because for me, I was thinking about, okay, I started with the 475. What is the tops? Where should I grow? It was my desire to know how much money will I get eventually. She didn't answer to me this question, but the next day I was lectured by the owner, and for me it was easy. I didn't understand 80% what she told me, but I understand it wasn't proper question for me to ask about the salary. It was very funny for me because in Russian it wasn't. It's like kind of it wasn't kind of, it's kind of tradition, it's not a good manner here. Right now I understand, you never ask about the salary, but at this time it wasn't. So I was working with the same person for 3 or 4 years, and luckily because my husband couldn't find a job, and then he was so sick. So all the kind of emotion, because in Tashkent I was a housewife, he was a provider. But in this situation, I have to be a provider, and he has to stay home because he was so sick. He has gouts and was unable to even to walk. And limited of English didn't prevent him to take any kind of the job and the position. And it was a big shock because when he owned the company in Tashkent, and now he even couldn't be a student of the plumber. They didn't take him because of the limited of the English. It was a couple of the hilarious moments in our lives. We were standing at the bus stop. We didn't know how the bus operates, and we borrowed the pennies from our niece. And we started to count it how much money we have to pay. We didn't know it was exact change has to be done. So my husband said, okay, forget it. After we calculated the pennies, we have to pick up our son from the preschool. We didn't have a car. And all of a sudden, volunteers called and said, we cannot bring your son back, so you have to take a bus. It was a new experience for us. Using the bus, using the tickets, everything was new. And we started to calculate it, how many pennies, is it enough for us? And the woman, she came passing us and said, do you need help with the money? I can help you with the money. And my husband was so embarrassed. He said, oh, I have a bill, $10. We can pay with a bill, $10. And we came at the bus stop, and the driver said, you ready to pay? My husband gave him $10, and he said, we accept only the exact change. And we started to communicate in Russian, and the driver said in broken Russian, forget it, you can pay next time. He understood us, what we was talking. So it was a many hilarious situation in life, yes.
Tell me about your first trip to an American grocery store.
Well, I have a butterflies. When I saw first of all, my shock was when I saw that all the stores are open until 11, 12 o'clock. When Albertsons, I remember Albertsons started limited his time. It's the first store when they said we're closing until 12 o'clock in the nighttime. It was a shock for us, so it was safe to walk our streets, so you can go anytime, 11 o'clock, and the shelves will be full with the food. Come on, no, I couldn't get in the store for the first 4 months. I have a butterflies in my stomach because of the doors open by itself. It was shock. The time when we left Tashkent, you can imagine, literally all the shelves were empty of food. So if they have a food, so it was a big, huge line to get it. And after the certain hours of the time, everything was disappeared. But we live close by bazaar. It's like a farmer's market where the farmers selling the food, but it was much expensive, so you cannot allow all the time to go and buy only the fruits and vegetables. You can go, but stuff like meat, sugar, necessity, you have to go to the store, but by this time it was empty, and it was a big contrast, like a date night. The store full of food, and you came from the place when it's empty, totally empty. It was a big shock for many, many, many months. You have to adjust. You have to adopt this kind of the culture.
And so tell me more about American food. How was that? I mean, was there anything that shocked you about the food itself?
A lot of the stuff we didn't get used, like a yogurt, like I say, varieties. It was a different taste of the vegetables and the fruits, because we came from the very, very sunny place, Uzbekistan, when they grow their own stuff, and kind of the Colorado was having everything on the shelf. In the winter you have a watermelon, but unfortunately it doesn't smell like a watermelon. In the winter you have a strawberries, but the strawberry is not ripe until later in April and in June. So we just look at this kind of it's like a picture of the museum for us. We didn't use it a lot, yes. We tried to find, first of all, it was a kind of experience sharing all the people, Russian immigrants, where did they get good food, and where did they get, groceries, produce stuff from the farmers markets, flea markets, because of the Mexican, they brought very good one, but later we understand it's not a good quality, it's not safe to eat. Yeah, but it's a different taste. It's a different taste of the many, 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 many stuff, yes. So we can say I grew up on an organic product because the farmers were close by, and the neighbors had a goat milk, the neighbors has a cow milk, so you even don't go to the stores. Yes. But it was different, yeah, the taste was different, and of course every person who came from Russia, for the first 2 or 3 years, they gained 10 or 15 pounds immediately because of the, like right now we can say the junk food, like chips, like a dessert, too much dessert, and dessert was much sweeter in our taste than everybody, so everybody tried to taste it and it gained 10-15 pounds immediately. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It wasn't good for everybody. No, absolutely not. And then everybody started to understand, oh, you have to lose the weight. You cannot live in this way. You cannot eat this way, even it's so tasty. Yes.
So tell me when you first got involved with Jewish life in Boulder.
My first experience, we started to go, I was ended up, after a couple of years, when my English improved, I started to be a helper. I started to be a volunteer for the Boulder Jewish organization. When there were people came, new people, I started to help them to go to the doctors. I was a translator already for them, and I knew the way, I knew how to introduce because of my own experience. Yeah, and I started to go to the synagogue to celebrate all the kind of the holidays, not only Jewish, but American holidays as well. And we started to go on the first kind of the bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah. It was new for us as well, kind of the traditions.
Was your son bar mitzvah?
No, unfortunately not.
And then how did you get involved with Boulder Action for Soviet Jewry? You said you were a translator. How did that sort of come about?
I was involved in a lot of the activities. Mm-hmm. Whatever they asked me to do, I never refused to do it, and pretty much is a help for them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and all kind of the events. So I was thinking about, I'm the part of this community, and right now it's my turn to give my time, my knowledge to other people.
And was that a good experience for you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm still doing something here if somebody needs it, yes.
And then you mentioned that you celebrated all the holidays with the Boulder Jewish community. How is it different celebrating the holidays here than celebrating the holidays in the Soviet Union when you were growing up?
It was more ritual, yes, right here with all kind of, so here we actually learn. If in Russia we just learn with the food, and it's it, and how to get together. Here we learn how to read it, the Passover book during the Passover holidays. Yeah, learning how to celebrate, and because we have a very good host family, they were of course Jewish, and they taught us how to do it from A to Z. Yes, yeah, I'm very grateful for them.
What sort of things did you learn that sort of surprised you maybe about being Jewish?
Here in this country, I can be very open. I can be proud. I'm Jewish. I remember a hilarious scene when I quit Salvation Army, and I was looking. I found another ad in the Daily Camera. It was Bethel United Methodist Church were looking for accompanist for their Sunday services, and I called them. Actually, I was so afraid to call them. I asked my host family to call and said, wouldn't they mind to have me to try for the interview? And she called and they invited me for the interview. And I remember, like today, this episode when the interview, how I'm playing, and they said, you're very good in this one. And the pastor asked me, what's your religious? And I said, I don't know, how did I come up immediately to say them? I'm from Russia, I'm atheist, by my passport I'm Jewish. And it was the proudest moment of me to say, first time I remember. And I still with this church for 16 years. I already, four pastors left, but I'm still there.
So you identified as an atheist?
Yes, yes. Unfortunately, yes, I do, because it was a brainwashed, living in the country for 36 years, and to change your mind right now in the middle of 36, it's hard, but it might be, will work in a different ways. But when we came here in this country, we were so occupied with different issues, survival issues. So you're not even thinking, but you don't have time to think. To be religious, you have the time to absorb everything, to understand everything. You don't have time, physically time. You're so dead tired after the end of the work. You're lucky you have a roof and your kids are healthy, and that's it. You know, I remember when by my house, when we went, I had I always learn English. I always learn English. It was a big problem for me. I always like to know something new about the language, and I saw big sign English classes in a big church. So I stopped by at this church, and the wife's pastor said to me, "Your English is good enough, but I can do one-on-one with your classes." And I said, "Oh, great, perfect," because we already were 10 years. And then I understand she started to convert me to Christianity. And she started to talk to me about this one. And she asked me, "What do you think about this? What do you think about that?" And I was honest with her. I said, "Believe me or not, I don't have time, and I don't want to be converted to the different kind of religions that I ever have in my heart." Yeah, but I'm proud whenever my kids wanted to do it, explore to Judaism, I always was open. My daughter, she started to, at the age of 14, of course I brought her to the Har Hashem, and she started to work as in a child care at the age of 14 when they have a big holidays. With another Jewish friend. She's still friends with her right now after 20 years. And they started to take care of the kids, Jewish kids. So she was explored to the Judaism already. And then one of her, of the mother, she noticed her and she offered her a job as a babysitter. And luckily, this woman was very religious. Her husband was the one of the who wanted to organize the Jewish channel on a cable TV. So she was with this family for over the all years, through the high school, through the college. She graduated CU College. And then when she graduated, the father of these kids offered for her a job. And she went with him for 5 years. And then he promoted her. That's how she started to be. So this family was very religious, and they taught her, and I was very grateful. They didn't learn from me, from my family, unfortunately, but from this family it was a big explorer, and that's how she learned everything.
And did your son become more religiously Jewish too?
Yes. He was... For him, I try to explore everything here. Well, we live here in Boulder. We were close to the Har Hashem. He visited the classes. But then, he was very involved. He was very involved in all the classes, all the Jewish education. But then, unfortunately, we have to move to Westminster. And that time in Westminster didn't provide any kind of synagogue, was close by. So, and I have a limited experience to drive. I couldn't drive on the highway. It's a big issue, and we didn't have relatives. I didn't know about the carpooling in this time. So kind of they isolated him. But when he started to go to the college, he was on his own. He explored all the Jewish friends and all the different organizations. He's right now in Denver, and he's very involved in Shabbat and everything. He went to the Israel. He loves Israel with all the programs what they provided for him. Yes, I'm very, very fortunate to live in America, because America gave opportunity for our kids to be independent, to be professionals. They gave us opportunity to enroll them in every school they can go, to be very independent, very knowledgeable people. They gave them opportunity to be, not to feel the immigrants, not to feel the kids of the immigrants' family, because they gave us kind of the chances to be, I'm talking about all kind of the different summer camps, all different kind of the extra activities. We will never ever can be able to pay money for this kind of the activities, but because you're in a low income, America gave us chances, and I'm very, 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 very grateful for this one, to be a part of the American community.
Mm-hmm. So being part of the Boulder community, and more specifically the Boulder Jewish community, did that change for you what it meant to be Jewish?
It brought me closer to this kind of the idea I'm Jewish, to be next to the Jewish people, to be celebrated all the holidays, to be on Friday, occasionally on Friday, Shabbat, with the Jewish people. It became closer to me, yes.
So are you still in touch with the Boulder Action for Soviet Jewry volunteers that you worked with and who helped you when you came here?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, especially with the host families. Yeah, they became as a family for us. We had the same age kids. We watching the kids, their accomplishments, and we are still in keep in touch after many, many years, because there's kind of the people, you need to find the friends, not because when you're happy, when you have a bad days as well, and these people show they can be very good friends, recent friends, yes, real friends, which is very hard to find it these days, yes. And they trust us, and we trust them 100%.
So you still feel a part of this Boulder community even though you live in Westminster?
Yes, I am. I'm still feeling. And whenever I have a chance to move back, yes, I would like to do it, because in Westminster I kind of be feeling isolated, but it's my business over there and my kids closer to me, which is very good for this one, yes.
So then you don't have any regrets, or do you have any regrets of leaving the Soviet Union?
No, absolutely none, zero. Zero.
Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you'd like to talk about? Any stories that you'd like to relate?
I think you covered everything, and I'm very helpful and very grateful because this is the story can be watching maybe in a couple of decades. Our grandkids can watch us, what we get through, and hopefully they will never have an immigration again in their life. Yes, it's a very hard process.
Do you have any questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us.
So, Ina, there was something else you wanted to share with us.
Yes, I had about many heads of occupation here in America, being from the piano teacher, laundromat assistant, but one of the occupation was I was a director of the school for Russian Jewish kids. Was organized here in Boulder, and it was existed for, I believe so, 5 or 6 years. And this is a picture of us. So I had an idea to organize, because of my own kids, organize a school of the immigrants, Russian, Jewish, definitely kids, who never explored to the Judaism. So we got the money, grant money, through the Denver Jewish organization, and Banai Shalom let us to use the facility for free. So the way how we organize, me as a teacher, because I was all the time, all my life was a teacher, as I remember myself, I brought a Hebrew teacher. So I knew there's, because of education, our Russian Jewish kids never had a really Jewish education, and the parents probably were in the same shoes like me, was very, very busy with the jobs, were atheists. Yes, so somebody has to bring up to the kids to start their Judaism. So I hired through the grant money, of course, I couldn't do it myself, from the grant money, to brought the Norman, I remember him, he was a teacher of the Jewish preschool. And once in a week for 3 hours, we were taught our kids music, Hebrew, and Russian language for 3 years. For 5 years we were in the school, and until nobody can support us with the grant money, because the parents, they just pay for this 3 hours of school $5 per month, which was nothing for them, but it was a good explorer for the kids. And definitely I did it because of my son. He needs somebody has to bring up the Judaism, and I was very, very grateful for this one.
And what did you call it? The school?
It was a Russian Jewish school.
But did it have a name?
Russian Jewish school.
Oh, just Russian Jewish
Sunday
school?
Russian Jewish Sunday school. Yes, because we met at Sundays in the Banai Shalom. That's it.
And was it successful?
Very successful, yes. We cover all the kids who were Russian Jewish. We have a concert with the parents, and Norman, he brought everything what he knows about the Judaism, in the crafts, in the songs, of course, in the music. We did everything, whatever we can do it.
Yeah.
Yes, it was very successful.
Great.
Yes, that's what I wanted to mention.